Good evening. Surrey farmer Robert Fiddler, who built his house on greenbelt land behind straw bales to hide it from the council, has been told he'll go to jail if he doesn't demolish it. He built the mock Tudor castle without planning permission. Today, he was given a 3-month suspended jail sentence for failing to tear it down despite being ordered to do so. Duncan Kennedy reports.
It's the castle in the countryside, but tonight the man who built it is facing jail if he doesn't pull it down. Robert Fiddler has lost his long fight to keep it after the High Court ruled he put it up without planning permission behind a wall of hay. Tonight the High Court gave him a 3-month suspended prison sentence for failing to comply with planning laws and ordered him to demolish it.
How do I feel? Well, I mean, I told you before and I've told you over and over again, I've never broken any laws, I've never done anything wrong. All I've done is look after my family and looked after my cattle, and that's where I've got to go now.
Mr. Fiddler, will you be demolishing your house now that the court has
You're going to demolish the house now?
Are you going to demolish it?
The story began in 2000 when Robert Fiddler used these bales of hay to hide the construction of his house. It went up behind them in secret for 4 years. The local council said they'd been deceived and he didn't have planning permission. Well, Mr. Fiddler has been fighting this battle for 15 years to keep his house, but as you can see, it's right in the heart of greenbelt land. His argument all along is that as nobody has objected, he should be allowed to keep it. He also claimed it couldn't be demolished because it had bats and newts, and that he'd since sold it to someone else. But tonight the council welcomed the High Court decision. This has been depicted as an epic David and Goliath battle over planning laws in the Green Belt. In the end, the council and the courts have prevailed. Castles of stone cannot be built behind walls of hay. Duncan Kennedy, BBC South East Today in Salfords.
A Team GB Paralympic athlete says she was subjected to a horrendous experience returning from the World Championships in Qatar. Claire Harvey from Ashford, who competed at London 2012, says she was left on board by cabin crew who'd referred to her as the wheelchair, and she was made to drag herself along the aisle of the Qatar Airways flight while returning from Doha.
Ended up having to utilise the seats either side of the aisle to sort of literally almost like monkey bars, take my weight on my hands and drag myself to the front of the plane with him behind me, pushing me to go faster.
Campaigners in Kent calling for the removal of fixed odds betting terminals from high street shops say they're angry that a review of the machines has been dropped by the government. They're said to be so addictive that they've been dubbed the crack cocaine of gambling. Medway has a greater concentration of the terminals than almost anywhere in the country. Mark Sanders reports.
Stephen Giles plays high-stakes machines but wishes the temptation wasn't there.
You just can't get off them until you've got no money left, so you've gambled it all. So.
Have you lost a lot of money on them?
Over the years, yeah.
How much?
Really don't know. A lot of money. Thousands. So.
A review proposed by Tracy Crouch, the minister with responsibility for gambling, looking at maximum stakes and prizes, has now been blocked by Downing Street.
Well, Tracy Crouch is absolutely right to call for this review. And she's got the support of not just her Conservative backbenchers, but 97 local authorities, including Medway, who all want to see the stakes reduced on these machines.
Gamblers can bet £100 on a 20-second spin. The campaign for fairer gambling claims £38 million was spent on fixed odds terminals in Kent in a year and £29 million in Sussex. Mixed views in Chatham on how problematic they are.
I've seen people have winning 2,000 and then all of a sudden within 10 minutes it's all gone, quarter of an hour, it's all gone and they're hitting the machine.
You know, I can sort of rein myself in, you know, when I realise I'm not paying up, then I'll take a step back.
The Association of British Bookmakers says it's committed to ensuring responsible gambling, allowing customers to bet safely and helping those who get into difficulties. The government says a different review is already underway into recent changes to fixed odds terminals, where anyone wanting to place a stake above £50 without an account has to speak to a member of staff, but it's still facing calls for action.
The council have written on a cross-party basis to Tracy Crouch, saying actually we recognise that there has been that positive move with the changes nationally, and we want to see that increased further. And I'm hopeful that even though we've seen a setback from all accounts, that ultimately that's where we'll end up.
But delays now look inevitable.
Oh, well, Mark Sanders is in Chatham for us now. Mark, Tracy Crouch is the local MP as well as being the minister responsible for gambling. What's she had to say today?
Well, she told the BBC that she's been frustrated by what's happened, but sees this as a temporary setback. Now, the government wouldn't explain precisely why it shelved this review, but it's thought that next year a more overarching review of gambling in general is going to be launched, covering things like prizes and stakes. But there is concern about the number of betting shops here in the Medway towns, and there's a new scheme that's been launched which allows people to voluntarily exclude themselves from betting shops in the area. But in the first 6 months of its operation, just 23 people have signed up.
OK, Mark, thank you. Now, in the football, our non-league Whitehawk will play league opposition in the second round of the FA Cup. In tonight's draw, the Sussex club found out that they would be playing away either to Dagenham and Redbridge or Morecambe. Both of them are in League Two. The games are played next month. That's it from me for this evening. Let's take a look at the weather, though, in the southeast with Rachel Mackley. Rachel.
Good evening. So earlier, as one of our weather watchers captured, there was some brightness around in East Malling. Brightness is rather limited though over the next couple of days. We see lots of cloud and some rain by the end of the week too. Earlier then we stay dry through tonight. Still lots of cloud around and it stays very mild. Overnight temperatures only dropping to around 13-14 degrees. That's above what we normally be expecting to see during the day. As you can see, lots of lines on the map. It's a breezy day for tomorrow. That rain eventually we're going to be seeing through tomorrow night. Mostly though it's going to be a dry, breezy and mild day. Again, lots of cloud cover around. Top temperatures by the afternoon of around 16-17 degrees, so about 6 degrees above the seasonal average. As you can see, some blue on the map and further outbreaks of rain for a time as we go through tomorrow night as well. Looking through the week for Wednesday, mostly dry, again mild and breezy. Here's the outlook for us here in the southeast. Here's a look now at the national weather forecast.